Greetings everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm your host Captain Rye, and today's YouTube video is going to feature me in my Tier 10 German destroyer. That's right, I finally managed to grind my way up and got my hands on the Z52. There's some controversy floating around out there about the German destroyer line and its capabilities as destroyers go. Well, hopefully this battle will help you make a determination on whether or not the Z52 is a Tier 10 destroyer you'd like to grind your way up to. From my play of the German destroyer line, I can safely say that there are three distinct playstyles to the German destroyer line, starting down at the lower tiers, with the Tier 2, 3, and 4 destroyer being specifically motor torpedo boats. They're pretty quick, they've got forward-facing torpedoes, and their torpedoes reload fairly fast, but they're short range and they're fairly slow, which means you gotta get close if you want to hit your target. At the mid-tiers, you've got the T-22, all the way up to the Z-23, and those destroyers play kind of more like American destroyers in the respect that you've got to use your ambush tactics in order to get up and deal with enemy ships. Now, you can start stealth torping. You do have that capability, especially if you have a 15-point captain to use. But if you don't, definitely American destroyer captains. Once you get above that into the Z-46 and the Z-52, well, the playstyle changes again. And the problem with these ships is when detected and when shot at, they take a huge amount of damage and a lot of modules get knocked out. As the battle gets started here, I've pushed into the A cap point on Warrior's Path, and I managed to take out an enemy Fletcher right off the bat as the battle gets started. Popped my Hydro in an effort to try and detect him, but wasn't entirely sure I was going to be able to do that without getting spotted by the enemy. As you can see, there are a lot of battleships over there, and I'm still getting hit by the secondaries from a couple of the ships back over there. Dodged the first set of torpedoes. This is the advantage to having Hydro on these destroyers. You can sit in your smoke screen, pop your Hydro, and feel fairly comfortable knowing you're going to spot enemy torpedoes coming in to attack you. Now, the first blood did go to me, but the enemy team is in the process of capturing B and C, and we're still being heavily contested here at the A cap point. This means that even though we have a points advantage currently, the enemy is going to be able to resolve that points issue pretty quickly, but we are going to be able to take out this enemy Tirpitz. Now, I fired off a set of torpedoes at him, and the Z-52 has incredibly fast 10.5 kilometer torpedoes. They're 69 knot, and they reload with the reload module every 75 seconds. And as soon as I have a 17-point captain, and I have the torpedo reload skill, I have a feeling they're going to reload even faster. I managed to hit the Yamato there. Don't do too much damage. You'll notice one of those torpedo hits only managed to do 6,000 damage. And that is the big problem with the German destroyers. Their torpedoes just do not do that massive, hard-hitting damage like you get on the Shimakaze, or you get on the Fletcher or the Gearing. But that's okay, because, as I said, the reload on these torpedoes is ridiculous. And they're 69 knot. And they're 10.5 kilometers. So not only can I stealth fire these, I can stealth fire them rapidly. So that Yamato up there looks like he's backing up, and I'm not entirely sure how fast he's going to be able to back up. So I get torpedoes off a little bit further behind that lead indicator. With any luck, I'll be able to get him. I did manage to cap the A cap point, and we're currently contesting B and capturing C. While the enemy team has managed to take out one of our we've now managed to take out two. So that's going to leave us with a massive destroyer advantage here, as the enemy team is left with just 3. Well, we have 3 ourselves, but the 3 that we have are a Tier 10, a Tier 9, and they're just left with 2 tier 8s and a tier 10, and the tier 10 they have is the Shimakaze, who's actually been hiding back over on this side of the map, and we're going to see him pop up a few times. I do manage to hit the Yamato with 1 torpedo. Can I hit him with a second one? Come on. Managed to just clip his bow there, caused flooding, but that Yamato was on fire, burning in multiple locations, and he's got his damage control capabilities up, so he pops that so I don't get to cause any kind of flooding, and that's really disappointing when you think about it. But I'm looking at the situation, and I'm noticing that there's a nice full-strength Iowa that's up there, and he looks like he's trying to push up towards the A cap point. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get nice and close, and I'm going to contest that A cap point. We have a friendly Iowa up here who's about half strength, and he is pushing up as well. And that's kind of a risky move on his part, given the fact that there are multiple enemy battleships back over there that can be shooting him. Although, an advantage to him is that the enemy Yamato, who's taken quite a beating as you can see up there, has decided to back off behind that island, and he's going to stay back there for a while. So I get up here, I go ahead, and I decide I'm going to pop smoke. I don't need to be spotted by this guy, as I said. When spotted, these destroyers tend to take a lot of damage, especially from armor-piercing rounds. They just tend to knock out everything. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fire shots off here with my high explosive, and the German high explosive does a reasonable job of setting fires, as we're going to see in a little bit here. But I'm trying desperately to light this guy on fire, and I'm not really having any luck. I do manage to light him on fire, but he's got his damage control ability up, so he's going to go ahead and put that right out. But that's a bit of a problem for him, as I hit him with 2 torpedoes there. Almost managed to hit his bow with a 3rd torpedo, but his damage control ability wore off right before those torpedoes hit and caused flooding. So now he's gonna flood for at least a minute and a half. And that's good for me, because who doesn't love causing flooding damage to battleships? I'm trying still to get this guy on fire, because then fire plus flooding means he's gonna go down very quickly, and with any luck, it'll kill him. I do keep pulling my camera back here, and in the normal destroyer, that's just to make sure that I don't get blind torped. But in the German destroyers, that's just mostly to check to make sure that my smoke screen's not dissipating, and as you can see here, my smoke screen has dissipated. Enemy Iowa does manage to get shots off at me, and he manages to hit me blind fire, and as you can see how much damage I took there. Do manage to kill that Iowa through fire and flooding damage. Friendly CV did help in the process by hitting him with a couple of torpedoes as well that brought him down to a low enough threshold that my flooding and fire finished him off. Looking at the situation, the teams are still pretty equal, and it's about 9 minutes into the battle and I'm already sitting at 120,000 damage. This was the first battle I played of the day on my live stream on Sunday if you missed it. And somebody commented that, yes, WoW already at 120k, and I've actually had a lot of battles where I've been able to put up these kinds of damage numbers. Unfortunately, I'm still learning how to play this destroyer effectively and how to avoid getting pretty much deleted by getting too close to battleships with their angry guns pointed at me. As I said, the armor piercing tends to knock out a lot of modules, and on these ships, I can't tell you the number of times I've basically lost out because I've had my engine knocked out, my steering knocked out, my torpedoes knocked out, and guns knocked out, set on fire, repaired it all, only to have the very next salvo come in, knock out all of those things again. Friendly Bismarck up there manages to take out the enemy Minotaur, but the enemy Minotaur took him out as well with torpedoes. However, that's going to bode well for me, as there's nobody up at the B cap point that can detect me, so I'm going to be able to take the opportunity to get in here and capture it, as the enemy team has already managed to capture C once again. So as I push up in here, you'll notice that the enemy Iowa is coming around this corner, and again, I'm looking at the situation. I've got my smoke screen up so I can pop that, and I want to get nice and close. Fast torpedoes with low detectability range combined with a narrow channel for him to maneuver in means that if I get close enough, he's not going to be able to really dodge my torpedoes at all. So I get in here and I'm capturing. I launch the first set off on the lead indicator. I launch the second set off in front of the lead indicator because I think he's going to try and straighten out a bit and pick up some speed there. Pop my smoke screen just about as he's going to push past the island there because he is just outside of detectability range. Plus, I want to go ahead and start shooting at him. I managed to set 2 fires on him, but again, his damage control ability is active. So those 3 fires now are not going to continue burning, and that's 4 fires. So you can see, pretty lucky with the fire chance here. But you know what? Looking at the situation, it doesn't really matter. As I hit him with the first 2 set from my first salvo and 2 more from my second salvo, and that takes him out of the game. But on the minimap there, as the friendly aircraft were spotting there for a split second, I noticed that there was an enemy Benson. Actually, both enemy Bensons. And there's one of them right now. So I take shots out here as I back out of my smoke screen just a little bit. There's the second one that is going to push in and contest the B cap. Now, I've got my hydroacoustic active, and the reason I have my hydroacoustic active is because it's the B cap point. It's not a very big location, and he is close enough for my hydro to detect. That's one of the key advantages to this ship, is that it's got German cruiser hydro, so I can detect this guy at a range of 5.8 kilometers. Or just about 5.8 kilometers. Which means, if I pop my hydro, I can pretty much detect anything. It also means that he knows he's detected, and in the case of battleships and other battles, it means they know that there's a sneaky German destroyer sitting on the other side of the island, lining up a shot on them. So they are going to react due to that. But in some cases, it can be useful. Now, I'm firing high explosive at this destroyer as I see his torpedoes coming out there, so I slow way down to avoid them. But in actuality, I've found that firing armor piercing into things like Bensons and Fletchers works so much better. Friendly destroyer behind me takes the kill there, a little disappointed by that. But I'm not really going to complain too much, as the enemy team's down to 1 Benson, 1 Frederick de Grosser, and 1 carrier left. And the carriers managed to remain unspotted this entire time. The Benson up there is relatively full health, but he is spotted, and so that's not going to last very long for him. And of course, the enemy battleship up there is incredibly low health, as he's taken quite a beating most of this battle. The battle is basically wrapping up at this point. My team holds 2 of the cap points. We're well up on points in the 700s. The enemy team's pretty low there. I mean, they could turn it around. There's always that possibility. But to make sure, rather than go chase down the destroyer, rather than go chase down that battleship, I'm going to go cap C. And, you know, I kind of want to touch on this a little bit, that I see a lot of people in game will go chase down those wounded ships because they want the damage, they want the kill. But they forget sweet, sweet capping XP. I would much rather capture C and ensure that we're going to continue gaining points even if we lose ships, and prevent the enemy team from gaining points every few seconds, to ensure our victory is going to happen. I'm pretty confident my team can deal with this. I'm still half strength after all, so there shouldn't really be too many issues as far as being able to torpedo and kill the enemy ships. But just in case, I want to make sure. Now, we managed to take out that Benson, so he's gone, and there's the enemy battleship, incredibly low health, and he's detected, which means he's just going to sit there and get wailed on by pretty much the entirety of my team, which is down over by B. And they're just going to continue shooting him, and he's going to continue to burn. Now, I fire off a set of torpedoes here, kind of speculatively. I don't really expect him to survive to get into my torpedo range, and looking at the situation, he's definitely not going to. So I get my shots off here. I really don't care at this point. I'm almost done capping the base. I pop my smoke screen just in case, because the enemy aircraft carrier could reset me, and I don't need to be hit by him. Manage to capture the base. That's 3 full base captures for me. Oh, the sweet, sweet XP associated with that. And I'm sitting at well above 150,000 damage done in this battle. Oddly enough, no high caliber, no Confederate. I'm not entirely sure if this has been bugged. I don't think I've gotten a high caliber or Confederate for quite some time, and that's unusual in spite of the fact that I'm doing high amounts of damage to the enemy ships. I'm getting my high explosive off out at this carrier, trying to set him on fire. As I said before, the chance for fire on the German guns is pretty decent. Not as good as the Russians, but definitely better than the US. Do manage to light that carrier on fire as he takes big ol' hits there from friendly torpedo bombers and from friendly ships that are shelling him. He's almost dead. I don't manage to secure the kill, but I do 176,002 damage. 631,000 credits at tier 10. This is fantastic, and of course, 2,200, almost 2,300 free XP, but I am running the Papa flags, so that does help. Came in top of the team for XP earned, as you will see here, at well over 2,400 base XP, and well above the next nearest person on my team. So, when handled well, the Z-52 is a dominant force out on the battlefield, but the trick is not being seen and not getting shot at, or you're going to have a bad time. As it just so happened, this was the first battle out of the 6 that I'd played that I'd actually managed to survive. So that was kind of a, advantage. I have improved my survivability, though, in the more recent battles, and that's what I'm finding. The Z-52 is don't get shot at, and you'll be fine. Anyway, that's it for today's video, folks. If you liked the video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. If you'd like to get semi-regular channel news and updates, you can do so by liking and following me on Facebook. If you'd like to help support me and my channel, I encourage you to visit my Patreon and donate there. If you'd like to watch me play World of Warships live, among other games, you can do so by following me on Twitch. And if you've got a replay that you'd like to send me that features World of Warships to be featured on my channel, you can do so by emailing it to me. You can find the links for all of those in the video's description down below. And as always, I'll see you next time. This is Captain Rye, signing off.